test of like, well, you gotta do it better than you did it last time, was crazy. But at the same time, we're living on this beautiful country club. All of us
We
in
lived
the
there.
cast we lived on a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
So we were all neighbors and we'd come out.
Roommates, like I was next door to Alicia. Hey girl! Yeah.
Walk to set, you know, it was great.
The third one was my favorite to film though, because of the nostalgia. Like the baked in, like being on set and seeing photos on the wall from the previous movies and knowing that like we really were hanging up our dance shoes. There was something about that was just like every time a scene was over, a song was over. I remember doing A Night to Remember and being like, my feet were literally bleeding. And I was like, can we just do it one more time? Because it felt like we had never gotten to do it again. And it was just such a special thing to know that what we were doing was actually like, every moment was a curtain call constantly.
Yeah, I mean, stepping into the cafeteria and seeing the entire thing completely redone for I Want It All, like with new flooring and like all of these set pieces. They spent $1 million just on that one number. And it's like, holy crap, I get to be in this? This is like singing in the rain shit, you know? Like, this is crazy. But then to the finals of the whole thing, like, shooting all of that last stuff.
We were weeping.
Oh,
We were like, okay, I'm ready to go. Oh, you know, yeah. So one thing that's interesting about that as well is that moment in the last movie where it pans on each of our faces. Kenny basically asked us to look out into that empty audience and think about what these years in this movie meant to us. And so when you go back and you watch the films and you watch that moment and you look at everyone's face, now you'll know that what was in our eyes and what was in our heart, which is basically us actually like letting that moment go. And was that the last thing we did? Yeah. So it was just like we got to like really encapsulate that moment in real life, and what you see is 100% like us like reflecting on this experience and how much it changed our lives.
So this is a little more of a silly fun question. We had a ton of students submit questions about this, so I know it's on everyone's mind and we need to address
shirts.
Yes, Chad and Ryan.
This is the other, yeah.
And why do I not know this? What happened?
So after, sorry, you can ask
the question. So sorry. We get really comfortable. I
can
we're
also
very
be like,
calm.
okay, so the question is, at the end of I Don't Dance, Chad and Ryan switch hats and shirts.
What's that?
Full costume, I mean, waist above, we switch.
Do you acknowledge it in the movie?
No.
It just happened?
So here's what happened.
I
I love that this point of view is also being present here right now at this moment. I had no idea you didn't know.
I had no idea.
So in the script, it said, I think it said in the script, switching hats. If it didn't say it in the script, like it was and we were setting up and we're rehearsing the scene. Kenny's like, yeah, why don't you guys switch hats? Just, like show that you guys are united. We're wiping the line drawn in the sand. We're like, okay, cool. And then right before we start shooting, he's like, actually, why don't you guys switch shirts too? Like, what?
I need to literally go back and watch this tonight.
Kenny, do you just want us to take our shirts off? No, we felt weird at the moment, but he explained it so innocently, and for years, crickets. Nothing was ever said about it. It just was what it was. And a few years ago, all of these
TikTok.
I don't know.
Resurrected this.
It was
I think a lot about.
We were a ship. A ship. A ship.
Right. Oh yes.
That's how I learned what a ship was. because Corbin and I were doing a thing like this together, and they were like, "Oh, what are your thoughts on Ryan and Chad's ship?" And I'm like, "That they're gonna go sailing on?" No, but yeah, this is the beautiful thing about art. That you can put something into it, and you can have all the ideas of what intention you actually want people to take away from it, or what they want to take away from it, but it's up to you to interpret it in any way that you want to, so dream on.
Well, there's no answer? It's what you're saying.
I gave the answer. It's, hey, he was a jock, I was a thespian. Now he learns I'm a jock, because I played in the Little League World Series. And I actually did grow up playing baseball, so that was my favorite number to do out of all of the movies because it literally was like the perfect blend of dancing and sport. But yeah, he was like, yeah, you're all on the same team. We're all in this together now. That's what it is.
Okay, so.
Oh, another cool story about that number.
I didn't know you.
Who is Kenny's mentor?
Oh my gosh, Gene Kelly.
Gene Kelly. So, studio calls up Gene Kelly one day, and they're like, "Hey, we've got this guy. Well, you know him, Frank Sinatra, we're putting him in this movie, Guys and Dolls. But we obviously know he can sing, but he can't dance. Can you teach him how to dance?" And he's like, "Well, does he like any sports?" And they're like, "Yeah, he likes baseball." He's like, "All right, get us tickets to a baseball game." They go to a baseball game, and he's like, "Look, Frank, watch these guys and look at the movements that they're doing and think of it as a movement and as an actual intentional choreography instead of it just being what you do." So he literally had him phantom throw baseball, back and forth and ground things to learn how to dance. And Kenny heard that story, years and years ago, and then when the sequel was coming out, he was like, "Oh, we've got to put that story into an actual number."
That's incredible.
It's cool.
That is really cool. I love the lore, I think.
So Corbin Blue is Frank Sinatra.
That's real, the proof is here tonight. Well, another hot topic in our DMs was Ryan's character's sister, Sharpay.
Let us Sharpay. That's copyrighted, by the way. Just kidding.
But what everyone really wants to know is, was she really the villain? Or did they just portray her negatively?
Yes, she was.
No way!
Did you see the way she treated me? That is not Yeah, exactly! That is not the way that you treat people.
Was she a villain or was she just a bully? Or are all bullies?
Well, okay, that's an
Like she's
interesting
the villain
question.
of the story because Gabriella did kind of come in there and be like, "I'm gonna take your parts."
Look, that is totally valid. But look, that happens all the time when a new student comes into a high school and everyone's like, "Well, I've been the lead of all the musicals forever and ever," and then this new kid comes in. I mean, this literally happened in my high school. So
there.
It
What do you guys
happens.
think?
And
Show of hands. I
that's
wanna know.
theater.
Right. Who thinks that Sharpay was the villain?
What?
Whoa!
Oh, so you all think that
So what do you
Gabriella was the villain? Who was the villain? The status quo was the
think?
villain.
Patriarchy!
Yes.
It was the status quo.
Oh,
Okay, great.
I love the intangible villain. Because I mean, you're really onto something.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, they don't even kiss in the first movie. Like it really is as wholesome as you could get. And yeah, she does bully, but she also gets some nachos thrown on her, and
Yes.
you know, she,
Yeah.
and she does a good part. So
It was the status quo. That was great. Well done.
never stick to the status quo, y'all. No, no, no.
So, all right, we're gonna go to another question from one of our students. So Natalie, she's a first-year neuroscience major.
My God, neuroscience. Wow.
Oh, is that you, Natalie?
Okay. Wow, that's amazing.
Well,
Science girls.
she wants to know, and you did already answer this, Lucas, kind of, but if you want to elaborate, like, what was your favorite choreography to learn and perform?
Well, the number was I don't dance. The choreography is a really much harder question. A Night to Remember was probably, it's like that, What Time Is It, maybe All for One, were like the hardest choreography. All that? You don't remember? It was hard. It was really hard. And I had two knee braces on during that.
You did.
And a back brace.
You did.
You
did.
I had knee surgery in between the first movie and the second.
I'm sorry.
Just 2 weeks before we went out on tour.
It's
no big deal. No big deal.
I maybe broke my toe on Dancing with the Stars and went on tour too, so let's
Yeah. Everyone gets injured on Dancing with the Stars.
everybody was injured.
I'm waiting for that documentary to come out, by the way. Of like the dark side of Dancing with Stars.
Yeah.
Dancing with Stars. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So
I forgot.
Okay,
Yeah,
so those were hard because it was we had to time it with our partners, and some of us had great partners that were really great dancers, and other people had partners that weren't as great of dancers. But A Night to Remember, that choreography was so hard, and like it's not just when your feet are bleeding and you know it's the last time.
Honestly, yes.
But
really, these are facts.
It had so much joy
So funny.
and life to it.
It was, and it just kept going in the practicals, like just the way it just kept evolving. Like this, there was no CGI. Everything was literally like walking across with the limousine.
Who's that girl?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think my favorite for sure to do was A Night to Remember, for sure. But I also like All for One.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah. I also really enjoyed having to learn the footwork for Work This Out.
Oh man.
You didn't like that?
No,
It's
I
'cause your
wanted to be
knees.
in it.
Oh.
Yeah, remember? I wasn't there?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, that was definitely like the number I really wish I was in.
I wanted to status quo it. I walked through it, but I didn't get to do anything. Yeah.
I have on camera, because I brought one of those now ancient old video cameras, and I was videotaping rehearsal, and Chucky and this other dancer whose name is escaping me. Anyway, they're like, oh, hey, Chucky, I came up with something. And he's like doing something, he's like, oh, I like that. Now add this to it. And I literally watched them in 2 minutes create that on the spot. And then it was like a movie. The other dancers just started coming in behind them, and they're like, oh, how'd you do that? Okay. It was like fame in real life. And in like 10 minutes, everybody had, like all of the dancers knew this so cool dance. It was amazing.
I love that. That's the choreography.
Honestly.
I've seen those behind the scenes videos from the DVDs of y'all, and Kenny has y'all working.
Yeah, I mean, Chucky and Bonnie were Chucky Claypow and Bonnie Story, the two choreographers. I mean, Kenny choreographed for sure, but they would work with us to get it up. And one thing about that, which was amazing, is most of the time, you walk into a show and they're like, this is the choreography, learn it, and we'll see you tomorrow. With this, like, day one, we come in and they're like, okay, we're just gonna play the song and you and Ashley just do whatever you do. And then we would make fools of ourselves and they're like, I like that, I like that, I like that, throw everything else away, let's do it again. We did it a couple of times, they're like, okay, see you tomorrow. And then they come back and they're like, okay, so we're gonna do this move, and then you're gonna do that weird leg thing that you did yesterday. And literally had us, work towards our strengths and literally help out, like we helped, put input and
It's collaborative.
yeah. That's
And the whole process was collaborative, honestly. Like, when I think back to a lot of those moments, it wasn't just the choreography, everything was playing to our strengths. Like, I remember on the first day being asked what backpack I wanted. And I was like, yeah, Taylor doesn't carry a backpack. And they were like, what? And I was like, no, I need one of those like carts, I was like one of those like speech and debate.
She doesn't carry, she rolls.
Yeah, I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I'm not bringing it back. I was like, I don't do that. And they didn't, this was the first scene, first day, and they were like, Monique, like, we don't have that option. I was like, you know what I'm talking about? When they're like, yeah, we know exactly what you're talking about, and that's where the suitcase came from, which is kind of iconic, because it was so random, but I was like, I'm not wearing a backpack. So you gotta figure something. But the fact that they took those that input, and that a lot of what you see in the movie is definitely some of it on the page, but a lot of it is what was brought to life by us and obviously Kenny and
Yeah, he was like, hey, we're making this playground and your job is to come in and be your character, and we're gonna work on that collaboratively. And it was amazing. Something that new actors who haven't worked that much before do not get a lot of the time, which was really special. We're very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. It really helps you take ownership of it too. You're like, I put this in. This is me. But okay, so we've talked about the 3 main films of the franchise. I know there were a few other ones like Sharpay's Adventure. I forget the exact Fabulous Adventure. Iconic. But
You see my cameo? I'm sorry. I don't think I ever watched the movie myself.
I know, we just got in trouble. Shh.
We'll move on quickly. So, but we did get a question about potential future movies if they had been made. So, if a High School Musical 4 was filmed today, where do you think Ryan and Taylor would be?
Broadway! Unfortunately, I don't think that I became the president, only because I decided I didn't want to. And I see Taylor as more of like an AOC, like someone who's, like I'm still in the political, but I'm doing a little bit more grassroots, maybe even like local activism, that sort of thing. But I think she's like, I don't want to be the president anymore.
But she would be the Bernie, supported by
Yes.
someone else
Yes.
like AOC,
There we
instead
go.
of the other way
There we
around.
go.
That's awesome. Thank you for adding to that little headcanon that we had going on. But in a way, you kind of did get to reprise your roles in a fictional High School Musical 4. And one of our students, her name is Cassidy. She's here tonight, first year pre-vet medicine major.
Oh, you are so smart.
We're so smart here. But she wants to know, what was it like coming back for High School Musical, the series?
Well, I mean, they asked me to do the season 1, and I was very skeptical because there were TV shows, they even shot a pilot, there were probably 10, 15 movie scripts of other High School Musical projects that never made it out there. And the pilot that they shot was a kid who was homeschooled. Anyway, wonder why that didn't work out. So there was this thing of like, okay, there's so many cooks in the kitchen. Disney has just got so many people going on. How is it impossible, that they're gonna nail it. And so I went in and I met with Tim, the creator, and Bill, the executive producer of all the old movies, and they told me the idea, like The Office at East High. These kids are they're doing High School Musical since the first time since we shot the movies. I'm like, that's brilliant. And when I walked on set, I was saying this earlier today, I came on set and the first thing I saw was Bob to the Top. And I just started crying. I was like, it's truly having a new life. And these kids they're
so talented.
So talented, so sweet, good people, and deserving. And when they would call cut, they'd all run over to the piano and they'd sing not High School Musical songs or the songs that they were doing that day, just any old song, and they're singing harmonies and creating new parts and all these things. It was like summer theater camp. And so it was such a warm thing, and they were so generous with us and saying, look, we want to make sure that we are, giving, taking the legacy on in a positive way, and, not changing or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then season 4, when we came back, like, that was a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I remember we were I was just in the van and I pulled up, and I didn't process what it was going to feel like to pull up to East High for the first time in 15 years. And just to see it felt like it felt like I was coming back to my high school. And just to realize that, in the show, that the plot was that it had been 15 years, and it really had been 15 years. And so when we did these movies, we were young, and to see like how much life we had between us, that there were children and that there were marriages and divorces and
Ear hair.
Sorry. But it's just that we had so much history. We traveled the world multiple times. We've done so much life together. And just to see like where we sort of stood in that, in as far as the legacy, and the fact that like what was happening wouldn't have been happening if we hadn't had the experience that we had. But we also got to sort of like be kind of like the older people looking at this next generation having their own totally unique experience. And it was just a very surreal kind of meta, like just like the show is very meta, but the experience was also just very, very surreal. And yeah.
And like you said, like way more visceral than me going to my own high school.
Way more.
I don't
like,
care at all, but like literally, like we turn a corner and be like, that's where we did the part in what time is it?
Yeah.
And then we went into the gym and we all
Oh my God.
like, because it really, I've seen all of the movies twice. So it's not like I'm like living in that world. It's literally like my own nostalgia of like, wow, this was the place that we did that thing, and that was really cool.
And it was really neat too, because I feel like we also got to know each other in a different way, because our age difference at that time was much more significant. And so Corbin was only 16 when we did the first movie, and I was 24. And so, I know, crazy. So we had totally different experiences, and it was just so wonderful to like come back and like stay up late like kids at camp and talk about what our experience really was. And so it was like the art imitating life of it all. We also got to heal certain parts and like talk about certain things and share stories, because we all, even though we all were sort of forged by this experience, we all had very different experiences inside of it, and very different things that we took away, and moments that shaped us differently. And to be able to come back and share that again was really, really special.
Also, whenever any of us get together, there's a buzz, there's a feeling that we have, and it's different with every configuration.
Yeah.
But to have Mo and Corbin and Bart and Casey, like it was its own thing, and it was beautiful. We had such a great time.
Good, I'm glad it was so wonderful for you all.
I didn't see the fourth season though.
Oh my God.
See? I'm kidding.
I'm screaming. But you didn't?
No.
Okay.
To be fair, I didn't want to be.
Don't be, okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Trust tree.
No one's mad at you. I think everybody might be mad at you, but it's okay.
No.
We're building a bond here tonight, it's okay.
Yes. Transparency and honesty.
Yeah.
I'm an open book. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna, I'm past that part of like sugarcoating stuff. We're old enough now. Like, I'll tell you what it is.
I love that. Getting real. Well, we'll move on from the High School Musical questions, kind of, and talk more about you all as people. So we think y'all see y'all as your HSM characters. How are you similar and how are you different from the characters that you play?
Well, I mean, you got the part because that part of you
Oh.
turned around, and that they were like,
Oh, yeah.
that was like the gene. There is a good part of each of us that is our character, and that's why we got the roles that we did.
Well, I think, yeah, when I showed up, I did not put it together until later that I showed up to our first table read with like 50 pens. I had my notebook already like highlighted, color coordinated with like all of my pens and all like, oh my God, yes. I had my little stickies and everything, and I was like, I just thought that that's just what people did.
Yeah, that's what Taylor would do.
That's what Taylor would do. Yeah, I think, I feel like in that sense, I'm very much like my character, and was able to bring, which is really wonderful. It's fun to play characters that are much further from you. But for me, again, having never seen someone like this on television, and also not liking that part of myself that much. That wasn't something that was celebrated in real life. I wasn't celebrated for being motivational. I wasn't celebrated for, being really organized or anything like that. And so to play a character